The Aaron Boone Report is made possible by Jersey Mike's, the official sub sandwich shop of the New York Yankees, by Winners Brothers Waste Systems. Conveniently rent a dumpster online at winnersbros.com. Long Island's #1 choice for waste removal, wintersbros.com, and by Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and data. You can save up to 40%. Go to spectrummobile.com today. Aaron Boone joins us now. Aaron, good afternoon. Welcome home. It's Craig and Evan. How are you?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. So I'll acknowledge out of the gate, you get a terrible bounce on the Glaber double. If the ball hits the wall, the Yankees win the game. 6-2, game out of first place. And this interview probably goes a lot differently than it's going to. So I do want to acknowledge that, okay? Bad break, bad bounce, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And the Geo lines out the next AB, and yeah.
Yeah. But just listen, bad break, and glad to see Glaber, kind of coming out of it here,
especially behind 1 and 2 on that pitch too.
Great at bat, and we do want to acknowledge positive things as well. We're not only negative around here. I can't figure out for the life of me, just watching the game, sitting in my massage chair in my office, why you didn't walk Mullins, and then after the game. Well, I guess somebody asked you about it. You said it wasn't even a consideration when the guy's the hottest hitter in baseball right now. Obviously, a guy in first base doesn't mean anything because it's a tie game in the bottom of the inning. Why wouldn't you walk Mullins there and at least give you a shot at a force or a double play?
Well, because you're not going to be in a double play situation because Mullins is going to steal second on the first pitch, and you're not going to be in a throw-through situation because you still got to have the infield drawn in with speed at the plate in Hayes. So that one's a non-walk situation all the way. Yeah.
Solely because you're not going to throw down to second because there's one out, so you're giving him second base, essentially, is what you're saying.
And they're going to take second because we got to have the infield in still in that situation anyway.
What about from the aspect of Austin Hayes versus Cedric Mullins? I know it's early in the season, and I get the sample sizes.
Austin Hayes and Trey Mancini.
No, I get that. Well, or it could be Maikel Franco because you still have a base open to then potentially walk Mancini, which if we got to that point, that's probably what I would have voted on, but obviously it's all hypothetical.
Yeah. For me and for us, that was a walk in that situation it wasn't even a debatable one for us.
So you know what's weird about it, and I'm not sure, maybe I missed it. If I did, I'll take the L in it for sure. When you were asked about it, I think your answer was pretty quick. Never a consideration, but you didn't give the explanation you just gave us. That explanation makes sense. And it's something, to be fair, I never even thought of it or contemplated that. Right. So I just wonder, like, when they ask you that question, have you given that answer prior to right now, or am I the only guy 2 days later that's still asking about it?
Maybe you're the only one that asked. I don't think they asked as specific or in depth. Actually, somebody did ask me privately actually today about that. They did ask me that situation, and because they're like, I wish the follow-up would have been. So that was the explanation.
Right.
So when we go, anytime I'm considering a intentional walk, and as they get the runner, obviously we know they're going to bunt in that situation in a tie game. So I did at least with Mendy and Nev just go, if he gets them to third here, I don't think there's any walk scenarios. And so we did kind of at least walk through it, and it was a non-starter.
Okay, that's good to know.
The only reason I still slightly disagree is the choice of hit. Like, I totally get what you're saying, because Mullins is going to take off. Like, you're right, and the double play option isn't there. So it's almost, would I rather face Cedric Mullins or would I rather face Austin Hayes? Mm-hmm. Is the sample size too small for you to say, yeah, no, I'm good with Cedric Mullins, because the guy's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I don't know if he's going to end that way. And even though Hayes had that RBI double in the 8th inning, he hasn't been. So is it that you look at those two hitters and don't see the difference that maybe we see because we're looking at the early season numbers on how these guys have performed?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, we respect Mullins and the hitter he's turning into, but there's also a Hayes, Mancini, a Loaizaga element here that, you're not, not just going to put guys on and trust the stuff and trust that, we got at least when you're up against it a little bit, at least a realistic chance at the strikeout ball.
The call that still kind of bothered me, and I'm sure you'll have an answer for it, was pinch hitting Odor, because right now, I know his batting average is what it is, which is like, 190, whatever it is. It seems like this guy's been a big hit machine since you've acquired him. He has gotten so many big hits, including that day. He had the 2-run hit in the 5th. You have this great weapon in Aaron Judge. God bless you. You should use him. Why not pinch hit Hicks, who's done very little, as compared to Odor? I know it's lefty-lefty, but Odor's gotten hit. I do. I'd still let him hit. Is that the reason?
Well, it's the 8th inning, and once who got on ahead of him? Gio got on ahead of him.
He walked ahead of him, yeah.
Right. So now we're in a high enough leverage mode to where I'm like, okay, now's the time to shoot Judgy against the lefty there. I got Hicks turned around, who's right now much better from the right side. So that was, in my mind, the time to shoot the Judge bullet there. If you keep holding, you might not get to the right situation. So for me, it was clear in that spot.
But you don't feel like Odor kind of has that little magic going on right now with the big hits he's gotten?
Well, I mean, I definitely like him up there and think he's been an asset to our team and has gotten big hits for us. But, I mean, is that a bigger moment with a man on first, like because he's gotten some hits, like he's going to get a homer there, or what's the big hit coming there? Like I'm just playing like I think we got an elite level matchup with a unique situation in that I got Aaron Judge sitting over here. I got a lefty-lefty matchup. I'm going to shoot Aaron Judge on that day. He's sitting over there. Once we're now in a really good scoring situation with albeit a really good lefty on the mound and not an overly, like, he's not a lefty specialist necessarily. Right. But I got a man on first, nobody out. I got Aaron Judge sitting there. I'm going to shoot him in that spot.
And is not using him for Hicks because, like you mentioned, you feel good about how he's hitting right-handed, and also that because I think that would have been they would have had to have kept the lefty in because that was the third batter he faced. So it was squarely feeling good about Hicks from the right side as compared to getting that same potential matchup next with Judge versus a lefty?
Well, yeah, and also the nobody out, now man on first leading off the inning. Now it's shoot Judge. Now had Gio made an out there and it's one out, maybe I hold off on Judge in that spot.
Talking to Aaron Boone as we do every week. The Yanks are back against Detroit. These are the games that most Yankee fans think, okay, let's get our act together. I remember last week when we talked, you're trying to figure out if you had seen anything yet that made you feel like, the team collectively was coming out of the fog. I thought yes. I thought yes and no. It seemed to me against the Orioles, the hits were there. The timely hits may not have been there. Like it felt like, in the first game when you scored 5 runs, you could have scored 10. When you scored 6, you could have scored 11, that kind of thing. But do you agree with that? And ultimately, are you feeling the way you felt the last couple of years where you saw something click and it looks like the guys are coming out of it?
The last 7 to 10 days have been marked improvement offensively. There's no question about it. I still think we haven't really been worried because I do feel like a number of games on this trip, where we scored 5 or 6 or 4 or 7, like could have easily been 10 or 11 with the quality of at-bats we were having. Now, that being said, I felt like yesterday, that's a game where we should have been able to hang some more runs on it. That's a matchup that, we liked and should have been able to finish off a really successful road trip, and we didn't quite punch through like I would have hoped. Look, I thought we hit into a little bit of tough luck, but not like we had the rest of that trip where, I felt like up and down we were really swinging it well. So a little frustrating to not finish off the trip yesterday. But overall, I definitely feel like we're at least moving in the right direction. We're not near where we need to be or where I know we're going to get, but I do feel like we're moving there.
I'll tell you the one thing where I would think you feel, I don't know if you're the kind of guy that ever feels giddy, but I'm going to say that Aaron Boone might feel giddy about this. Are you a giddy kind of guy or no?
I'm a little giddy every now and then.
All right. I get giddy every now and then, too, but it's usually because I'm drinking Jack Daniel's Tennessee Fire. Kluber and Domingo, if they pitch the way they've pitched on this little road trip, you become a very tough team to beat in low scored games too. I would think you're very giddy about what you saw out of Kluber the last outing, and of course Ramon, who threw what most Met fans refer to as a no-hitter, which is
you know what? Shut your mouth.
Tell me just the confidence level
I
on
would
those two
say,
guys.
I would say, look, I think I've been consistent on this throughout. I am really excited about our pitching staff, and that starts with the starting rotation of what I think they're going to get to, provided we stay fairly healthy. What I think we could be from a starting standpoint come, into the summer and hopefully late into the year. I think it has a chance to be, the best staff up and down since I've been here. I'm very optimistic in that, and I continue to be encouraged by what I've seen. I think our bullpen has obviously been excellent, and the good thing is there's been a couple of guys, Loizaga looks like he's going to another level. We've had a number of guys that have had to, pick up important roles on given days because early in the season we've had to use them a lot, so everyone's had to factor in, even in high leverage spots. I feel really good about where our bullpen is. Obviously, we're going to get Britt back at the end of this month. He threw his first bullpen today. So I do feel very optimistic about our pitching staff. The offense is coming. I feel like our defense is starting to settle in after not playing well probably the first 10 days, 2 weeks of the season. And now it's a matter of, we've made far too many mistakes on the bases, and that's something we need to clean up and something that, feel like over the last few years, even though we're not a base stealing team or a overly fast team, obviously we have been very good at taking extra bases when they're there, but also not making a lot of mistakes.
Right.
And we've made a handful that have hurt us this year.
Yeah, one that jumps out is Clint Frazier from a couple of days ago. Is that something where no one has to say anything because he realizes, all right, I screwed this one up? Or do you have a quick conversation with Clint in the dugout after a play like that?
Well, Reggie Willits, our base running coach, talked to him, and just to make sure. All right, what's the process here? Like, why does that happen?
Right.
So, I think Clint gets a second. Obviously, he's been struggling a little bit at the plate and struggling to get going. He's out there, and it's like, it doesn't stop now. Like you're now a base runner, and you've got to, especially with the way teams shift today in today's game and shift within at bats and move fielders within at bats, you've got to be hyper aware of those things and know the situation and know exactly my techniques, my reads, and just making sure we're locked in like we need to be, not just when you're done hitting.
I love how the Reggie Willett says, "What were you thinking there?" Craig and I's response would have been, "What the hell are you doing? Like, what's going through your mind?" Such a nice, easy response to try to get an answer.
Probably called him some names too.
Probably.
Hey,
wouldn't have gone well for us though.
I'm convinced that you challenged the tag-up play just to make a point to the umpires because of what happened a few days prior to that. Like, you knew he was safe, but did you challenge it just to make a point?
No, I challenged it because it's the last play of the
nothing
game.
to lose, may as well.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, was there part of it like, hey, you guys screwed me 2 days ago. You know full well I'm challenging the play with Judge at third. And now I'm going to make you earn your money. I'm challenging it.
You also, I definitely saw, Aaron, you said something to Greg Gibson. So it's probably to Craig's point. You must have said, was that early enough for you, pal?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Something along those lines.
I knew it because you had to. Because listen, I agree with you. I thought you would have lost both ends of the challenge. 2 nights earlier with Judge at third base. It's a bad. Forget about the bad decision. Just on the challenge alone, I think you lose both challenges. So the run's not going to score. Boom, end of the inning. But I thought and I love the fact you got kicked out. That was the right thing to do. I loved it. Even though you went down 1, 2, 3 in the next inning, I loved it. But to me, it couldn't have been over there. So I do like the fact that you had to say something, even though you waited 2 days, which is very stealthy of you to do. I like that.
Well, first going back to that, like, obviously it's a tough challenge because you're looking at 2 plays, and our video guy is looking, and obviously in a 20, 25-second window, he doesn't even realize there's the second play until we alert him after we know Judge is out. Now, you're right. It wouldn't have been overturned. I was told that, because they ran it, but still, that's a situation in the eighth inning where, if there's any gray area there on one of those, I got to challenge it early enough. And I did go, make the motion with a second on the clock. So
Right.
I felt like it was wrong that they didn't give it to me.
Yep.
But in reality, I should have, with 10 seconds left, said, okay, we know the judge one's out. We got that clear. Let's challenge the other one. It's the eighth inning.
Let me clarify a couple of things, because I was very confused by this, trying to read the rule book on replays. Can you challenge both plays?
You can, but you got to be specific. You're supposed to be specific.
Gotcha.
On which one. So one of the problems with it was, okay, so obviously when we go to the phone, our replay guy's immediately looking at the judge play, and he's determining. He's like, okay, no, he's out. And then, and Mendy's like, what do you got on DJ? And what do you mean, what do you got on DJ? So
Got it.
in that 20-second snapshot, he doesn't even know that the run was waved off, or he doesn't even know. So at that point, when he's starting to look, I should have just said, we'll challenge the play.
Got it. Now, is there an actual clock in the dugout, or is it
There's a clock in the stadium typically. Now, it always doesn't run, but usually it does run, and it'll flash up in 20 seconds, and it'll start counting down.
Is that the same clock that they run during in between innings?
Yes.
I've never noticed that. So they do that for replays where they
do
start.
it for replay, but there's times when it actually doesn't get reset, so it's not going. So
Gotcha.
you're just kind of
That seems great.
communicating with the umpires.
Now, it seems like it's a bit of a pandemic in baseball that questionable, or even if I say bad calls, are going to replay and they're not being overturned. And I wonder, amongst the guys in the league that you talk to on a regular basis, there seems to be, at least from what I can tell on social media from different players and coach managers and teams, the feeling that they don't want to overturn calls. Do you get that sense as well?
I do not.
You do not?
I do not. Now I will acknowledge the Atlanta Brave Philadelphia Phillies
That was
play,
a joke.
Right.
the Tampa Bay Oakland play the other night. I thought one play of ours early in the year where the guy was out at first, to me, those are you got to have a pretty good imagination to say there's nothing there to overturn it.
Right.
So I think that's a problem and a bit of an issue, but I don't think I just think they're that clear and convincing. So if they don't see an actual touching in a certain spot, but I think it's, as we've seen with a few calls this year, I think it's been a bad look a few times.
Do you have a feeling, talking down Boone, just another couple minutes, of course, Yankees, Tigers tonight at the stadium. In your first 21 games, you used 21 different lineups. Mm-hmm. Do you think you're at a spot now, assuming obviously everyone's healthy, and I'll eliminate day game after night game for the sake of who might be catching, or Stanton, or a Judge. Do you feel like tonight's lineup, for example, LeMahieu, Stanton, Judge, Gio, Glaber, Hicks, Frazier, Higgy, Odor, and then of course Garrett Cole? Do you feel like that's your lineup for a while now?
Well, tonight's a lefty, so a little bit different. Whatever, 70% of the time you're probably facing a righty, so it's going to look a little bit different. I like when we are healthy and you have some continuity and you can start having okay, this is sort of our when someone's not getting a day off, for example. I like having, this is our righty lineup, this is our lefty lineup.
Yep.
I would prefer that, but so hopefully, the tinkering are small ones just on a given day based on having a guy down.
Well, because one change we've seen, and we've seen this a lot lately, and it seems to be working with Giancarlo, is Stanton in this 2-hole and Judge in this 3-hole. Are you kind of set with this for a while?
I'm definitely open to it. I definitely like how G's been there. Judgy likes hitting in that 3-hole. He's been bugging me for years about it.
He prefers 3 to 2, Aaron Judge?
He likes 3, but he's been a pretty good 2 hitter too.
Yeah.
So, look, and obviously, hopefully, we're going to get Luke Voit back here pretty soon, and obviously he factors in there. So, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, we get rolling like I know we're gonna, and it starts getting a little more regular.
Now, the catching situation, and Kyle Higashioka deserves to play, so good for him. He's playing tonight. Obviously, Cole's on the mound. Do you have it mapped out for, let's say, this weekend? Obviously, tomorrow's a day game, so I'm assuming, I could be wrong, you go back to Gary Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you have the weekend planned out, or are you going to go day by day? Hey, Kyle's hitting the ball well. I'm going to keep him in the lineup. How does that work now?
Yeah, Sunday will be day by day. It'll be kind of, get through tonight, get through tomorrow. Gary will catch tomorrow, and then kind of see where we're at.
So whoever had a better day, Kyle tonight, Gary tomorrow, start
exactly
Sunday.
Who had a better day? I mean, it's not. I'm not that.
So what would it? No, in all
day results oriented.
So then, what would it be? In all seriousness, I'm joking. What would it be based on? Like going into Sunday, what would you make that call on?
Yeah, I would say that matters. It all matters. And the one thing I've said is that Higgy has earned a lot more opportunities. So it is kind of a day by day thing. I try and get out ahead of these guys so I can give them heads up so they kind of know what to expect. But as I've told Gary, though, this is kind of a day by day situation where Higgy's pushed himself into the conversation.
What was Gary's response to that?
He was a pro. I mean, just he's going to be ready to go. He wants in there. He wants to play whenever. But I think he appreciates at least the conversation, and he just. And the thing about Gary is he's obviously a lightning rod. The reality is he's done a really good job behind the plate so far this year, and he's actually had okay at bats. He's walking more, he's punching less. He had good at bats yesterday. Really lined out to left, lined a base hit, had a couple walks. So he's I feel like a lot closer than certainly was in early in parts of last year. And, he's going to get opportunities. It's about taking advantage.
So then you agree, because there's been a little debate on social media. Is Gary Sanchez in a slump? Gary says, I'm not in a slump. A lot of Yankee fans say, you are in a slump. Look at your batting average.
Francisco Lindor said he's not in a slump either.
No,
They're all in slumps.
So is Gary Sanchez in a slump, Aaron?
I wouldn't say. I heard the interview.
Right.
And, I think they're making it out to like he's in this season-long slump, and I think his point is I'm actually a little closer than it looks, and his at-bats are, I think overall, you take a look at the year, it's a little more competitive than I think maybe the narrative is out there.
Final thing for me, Aaron, I know he pinch hits, so he's healthy enough to do it, and he's playing right field tonight. Aaron Judge, the day and a half off, did him good. Where are we just with how he's feeling physically?
Yeah, feeling good, feeling ready to go, and hopefully this is something that just trying to be out in front of and preventing things from becoming bigger issues, and hopefully get through this weekend all good.
Did Tyler Wade get some extra reps in learning how to lay down a bunt?
He's working hard.
Okay.
That means yes. that means
that had to tick you off. Come on, as a manager, you're like, hey, lay down a bunt for me, and he was unable to do it because it changes the whole game. I mean, that was almost the difference because Vallejo was able to lay one down, right? So it changes the game.
It looked like he'd never done it before, to be honest.
He's done it a lot and will continue, and he'll be successful the next time.
Like, I went home, I taught my kids how to bunt, albeit it was wiffle ball, but I showed them the proper way to bunt just in case. I don't want them to learn from Tyler,
Yeah. Very good.
Do what I got to do, right? I got 4 kids. I got to teach them the right way, Aaron.
You got to raise them up right.
That's right. You may have heard the New York Jets got a new franchise quarterback, so we're feeling pretty good about that around here.
Yeah, they got a USC Trojan.
That's right.
Yes.
Our guard.
Yes.
They got a nice left side brewing with Becton and Elijah.
Yes, we
That's
do.
Right.
And let's hope he's better than former USC quarterbacks.
You can't argue with that, Aaron. You can't.
Sanchez had some moments there, and Darnold's going to go, and he's going to get in a good situation, become a good quarterback.
Mark Sanchez is my main man.
Look, back-to-back title games. We appreciate that around here.
We got but AVT's that left side of the Jet line is fire now. We love it. We love it. So.
Yep.
All right, bud. Be good and good luck tonight.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, so Devontae Smith.
Wow, the Eagles. That's what Aaron's referring to.
Yeah. So, it's funny how the Eagles screwed the Giants in December when they pulled Jalen Hurts out and wound up losing to Washington. and cost the Giants a playoff berth. And then they conspire with the Dallas freaking Cowboys to screw the Giants again.
I know. They dropped from essentially they got another first-round pick next year, went from 6 to 10, and still got their man in Devontae Smith.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. By the way, how is it going and managing these games without a mask? You guys have been doing this for like 4 or 5 days now. You're one of the fully vaccinated teams. Is it a big deal? Are you happy? What's your feeling?
Is it a big deal? Yes.
Yes.
I am. Yes. Now I want to start, get rolling here, and then it'll get a lot more fun without the mask.
Do you want to start having lunch with me once a week just to go over, team stuff and shoot the bull and just
Let's keep working on that. All right.
I'm gonna send you a text right as soon as I hang up with you, just saying, lunch is on me whenever you're ready. Right?
Aaron, Craig tweeted 500 times, walk Mullins, walk Mullins, walk Mullins. That would be what the lunch would be like.
I was very I'm not even a baseball expert. I don't claim to be, but I'm sitting there and the massage chair is doing its job. I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm saying to myself, how are you not walking Mullins? It was killing me. But now you explained it, and I have to be honest, I never even thought of that as the reason why you wouldn't, but it makes sense.
Well, I gave you the Mancini thing.
No, you didn't know about him stealing second base.
No. I did. In fairness, I didn't say Mullins would steal second, but I said, look, if you walk Mullins, unless you turn a double play, you're facing Mancini who had 3 hits. I said that to you, and you blew me off. Now, Aaron says it, and it's like, the gospel.
Well, I mean, he had an answer. That means he's thinking. He's not just sitting there blowing bubbles. He's thinking. Aaron, appreciate
blowing
it, pal.
Bubbles and thinking. All right, guys. Take
yes,
care.
Multitasking. The Aaron Boone Report's brought to you by Jersey Mike's, the official sub sandwich shop of the New York Yankees.
Do you think he hates us?
Not me. I can't say. I don't know what he thinks about you.